my anthropology class, part of my final, other than the Chernobyl video, which you should totally go watch, was to write an essay on what being human means to me. One of the four core things I talked about in the essay that I've been really hung up on since is community. Hello everyone, and welcome to my next video essay. Today we are talking about the death of community. Now that definitely sounds sad, and I do apologize for that, but I really think it's important we talk about it. To me, I hold community so near and dear, and it's one of the things that I would hold as one of my biggest morals, I guess. I don't think community can be a moral on its own, but I think community is so important. And everywhere I go, I feel as if I would like to be a part of community. Why we have community. Community has been around since we started organizing into societies, and even before we were considered Homo sapiens. This is because gathering together has always been safer and more efficient. Each person in a community has a role. The importance and definition of these roles vary throughout time and culture, but one thing remains constant. Primatologist at Arizona State University, Joan Silk, who was trained as an anthropologist, says, "One of the distinctive features of humans is how intensely social we are. We all live in societies. We all live in groups of others, family, friends, and colleagues. One of the questions then is, what are the benefits of being social?" Silk also says, "Humans are wired for social connections because these connections have helped us survive and reproduce successfully over the course of our evolutionary history." You could play devil's advocate and say that some people live in the middle of nowhere and completely off grid, but they weren't born that way. No person can be born, abandoned, and survive alone. Some sort of community had to exist around them. Community shapes who we are. The people we surround ourselves with change our views, help us through life, and help us create our unique shape. And don't call me Shinji Ikari, I prefer Oscar Langley. You can't tell very well, but I'm ginger now. Just thought you should know. I like to say, to know ourselves, we must know others. To understand your own values and what it means to be human to you, you have to experience your life around you. You'll find similarities and differences between people and groups of people, and the easiest way to do this is to exist within a community. Before I get into this, I feel like I need to talk about what I think is an authentic community and what is a faked community. Authentic versus fake community. Community is not just a group of people, although it's technically defined as such. The type of community I'm talking about is one that shares a common goal, interest, or ideology. It is concerned with the well-being of others in the community and works together to support others existing within the group when needed. Although a very important piece of a community is that it needs to be created authentically. And when I say authentically, I mean not through means of LinkedIn, such as which communities created by proxy, meaning simply existing within the same space as each other, are not by definition an authentic community. My definition of an authentic community. Now, they could fulfill the same purpose of finding your own shape, but they lack that deeper connection. My examples of this are LinkedIn and hostile HOAs. Community is not forced by emails, cold calling, and LinkedIn, but community is organic, informal, and created by human nature. Another thing I have to note is that your goals or ideologies or interests don't even need to be political or serious. They just have to share something in common that you care about. Now, going into this essay, this is not to say that communities don't exist whatsoever anymore. They are just really not readily accessible to the younger generation. Or the communities that these younger generations are a part of are looked down upon. The shaming of community. Places like Discord, Reddit, and TikTok help younger people find each other. No matter distance, it's easy to send someone a message. Having people to talk to is, fun. And younger people definitely know their way around the internet. Mainly real-life communities that exist today are for older people because they existed in a time when community was easier to foster from a social construct stance. Breaking into these communities isn't a viable option for younger people. You hear the phrase often, everybody wants a village, nobody wants to be a villager. I definitely agree with this. The way we function day to day, a village just isn't buildable with the way we approach each other on the day-to-day basis. We love our privacy, a right to not talk to each other, which isn't wrong, I guess, but it is the root problem. We like ourselves too much. So I hope I make sense when I say the internet is the only community many people are ever going to find. Now, let's get into talking about why I think community has died, and I do not think social media is to blame for it. Social media and community. I think social media actually holds on to the hope of community. Think about various communities you know online. I'm sure you can name a few that you're even a part of. Fandoms, fan bases, and various talks All of these communities are based within online spaces. I'm of the belief that social media actually brings people together. Now, obviously, that isn't a catch all statement. Part of the reason community is dying is because of the shaming of communities. The internet, though, has built ease for the younger generation to find people that like the same things as them and that hold the same curiosities and morals as them. The shaming of communities is very prevalent within society today, whether that's religion, sororities, gaming, and Taylor Swift. There is almost a community dedicated to shaming these communities. This hatred is part of the reason why community is dying. Why would somebody want to be a part of something they are looked down upon for being in? If you can't tell, I am a part of a sorority. I remember before I rushed, I had doubts about actually going through it because of the negative things said about sororities. Now, definitely not unwarranted. The things that really made me not want to join were not the big things about dirty rushing or the big, Alabama rush things that you hear about. The things that made me not really want to rush were things said by people I had actually considered friends. But after joining 80 Pi, I can't imagine not going through recruitment. Once I joined and found people I really enjoyed, the negative things said weren't a worry for me. It didn't matter what anyone else thought because I was happy where I was at. That being said, I'm definitely not a person who cares much about what people say about me in general. But for a lot of people, those things are enough to drive someone away from a community that may have brought them a lot of joy. Anyways, enough of my own personal stories. Communities, especially online, gain reputations fast. And although things certainly are not always right regarding beliefs or actions within a community, these reputations are often exaggerated or only based on a few people. I don't think it's wrong to form your own opinions on communities. It is the reason the death of community has been sped up and why building communities is even harder. Another problem with communities is that everyone just hates each other. I have plenty of things I enjoy, and I am a self proclaimed weird kid, and I just don't see a point in being mean to people if they're not harming anyone. That's where the problem lies. Everyone wants a community, nobody wants to be supportive of other communities. The only way to foster a lot of communities so everyone can find their shape is to be supportive of other communities through your community. That's really confusing to say out loud, but I hope you know what I'm talking about. Filling the void. So, to fill the void, what's happened? Frankly, the children yearn for community. We've talked about how social media has fostered online communities, but it's also created physical social communities. A few years ago, I remember seeing this thing about eating pudding with a fork, and it seemed odd, but I think this is the direct result of people yearning for some sort of human connection and yearning for some sort of community. I'm about to butcher this, but pudding mit Gabel, I don't know, I'm just gonna say pudding with a fork, was an internet meme created in August of 2025 in Germany, where people would. When did you show up? Okay, ignore my cat. People would gather in groups with pudding, cup, and fork, and just like, sorry, they'd hit it on the top until it was time to eat, and then they'd all eat it, and then they'd like stack the pudding cups. It was beautiful, and people were judging them. They're like, "Why are you doing this? This is weird." And I was like, "The children yearn for community." He's gone. There were other instances of this happening. I'm not really sure how many, but I do remember seeing multiple videos from multiple different rallies of pudding with fork that obviously it made its mark. It brought people together. Now, was it a dumb thing? Yeah, but they shared the ideology of wanting to eat pudding with a fork in a park. And I'm sure people made friends out of that. People shamed them too for something as simple as going into a park, eating pudding with a fork, and leaving. So, what is the solution to this? Frankly, I don't know. I don't really want to give up on community, but also I feel as if it's too far gone. We would all collectively, all at once, have to agree to be a village. As I said, everyone wants to be a village, nobody wants to be a villager. We'd all have to abandon the mindset of doing things ourselves, leaving each other alone, and agree to make a community. But then you run into the issue of forced inorganic community. Community has to foster. Fake communities drive people away from community because when you bring someone into a community that ends up being hostile and mean and brings even other communities down, those people leave and they don't want to give it another shot because, well, why would you? Why would you join something if somebody talks bad about it? And why would you be a part of something that actively talks bad about their own community? I don't know. The issue is inherently engraved in modern social culture. Community still exists within many places, such as small towns, colleges, and workplaces. But especially for younger people, it's just hard to access. But I feel like you can always start somewhere. You can wave to your neighbors, you can say hi when you walk past each other, get their number, check in. Do these things in your local town. Now, I do live in a small town, so that'd be a little bit easier, but hey, I'm trying, okay? Don't be creepy about it. You could join a club, talk to people in your church. In the end, just be kind to each other. I don't think community is fully dead yet, and maybe that's me being hopeful, and maybe that's me being a college student where community is created for me. But it is indeed fighting for another breath every single day. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my video. This one kind of holds near and dear to my heart because I had a little bit of a rough time during my second semester, but I ended up finding my footing again, thanks to my sorority and other communities I am a part of. If I bummed you out but maybe gave you a glimmer of hope, you could also maybe leave a comment or a like, or you could subscribe.